So next bout here we got Chris Curtis versus Roman Kopylov. Now Curtis he fought 5 months ago against B. Allen. Excuse me. Now that was a really good performance. Good fight overall. But what worries me about Curtis is that fight he hurt like his knee or something like that right at the end, and you can see he was visibly hurt from it. He's a fighter who's 37 now, so we don't know what kind of that's going to take a toll on his career going forwards. That could be maybe like just a little push towards the kind of career end. I can't find the term that I want to use, but yeah, didn't like that injury. So Curtis, he's southpaw. I think most of us know about Curtis. Southpaw, heavy boxing approach. I think his boxing's solid. I think he's got quite heavy hands. He can throw a ton of strikes. Best being the one coming forwards. He's very kind of one-dimensional with his approach, but it's effective. But you've seen kind of the limitations to his game with a lot like losses against like kind of Joker, where Joker just danced around him. And actually, that's a good point. I think his footwork's not kind of the best. I think if you're a fighter who can stick and move, I feel like you can do quite well against Curtis. Defensive grappling's been solid historically. He's hard to hold down, hard to take down. Kopylov on the other hand, definitely a guy who's been making improvements to his fighting game. He looks much faster, much more technical. Looks a lot more sharper compared to just a couple fights ago. Got a lot of nice strikes coming from Southpaw. He's got a really kind of like fast, sharp, quick high kick to the body, to the head. Really like that. He's got a really nice 1-2. And yeah, I definitely feel like he's someone who's been coming to his own overall as a fighter. Definitely been seeing developments, been seeing the improvements that he's been making inside the cage. I think he's starting to peak. I think Curtis is probably starting to be on the decline. So I imagine Curtis, he's going to be coming forwards. He's going to try and put the pressure on Kopylov, probably try and test that gas tank of Kopylov, take this fight into round 2, round 3. But I'm not 100% convinced with Kopylov's cardio and his gas tank. I think at this stage of their careers, I think Kopylov is just fresher, quicker, sharper. While obviously Curtis has got that experience and the durability and the kind of, not the durability, but the kind of the experience, the kind of, and what's the time I'm looking for? He's got 31 fights, 31 wins, 11 losses. He's been there, done it, right? So this fight here, I have to lean towards Kopylov. That's just what my gut's telling me. My gut's telling me that Curtis is probably kind of on the way out. And yes, Kopylov just feel like he's starting to really come to his own. Obviously, I do think he has some weaknesses to his game. I don't think he's a perfect fighter by any means. And if Curtis is able to take the fight into round 2, round 3, really make it work, then I feel like he could have some success. But I just think Kopylov at the stage of their careers, sharper, quicker, fresher. I just think he's on the rise while Curtis is on the decline. So I have to lean towards Kopylov here from a betting perspective. Let's see if I can open up. So current odds around 1.41. Don't feel like you're getting any real value betting line. I think the betting line's fair, in my opinion. I think it's fair. I've seen some people on the Curtis side are sharp. But I can see where you guys are coming from. I'm not willing to completely write off Curtis at all. Because he only fought 5 months ago. That was a strong performance, I felt. And he's been there, done it. And Curtis is always game. He can pack a punch, got good boxing fundamentals, but I have to kind of lean towards Kopylov being sharper, faster, younger. I want to put my house on it. Let's put it like that. So next bout here we got Ponzinibbio versus Carlton Harris. Now I remember not even that long ago, maybe like 5, 6 years ago. Sorry if my years are off. This guy was considered a top prospect inside the welterweight division. He had a really strong meteoric rise. You could see it, and even I was like, "Yo, this guy's really good." But he had like a, I remember the exact, he had like a disease or something, and he returned, and he's just not being the same fighter at all. He kind of looks like a watered down version of himself. He's definitely a shell of his former self. He just looks way less sharper. His durability is just not there really anymore. But what he likes to do, he likes to kind of pressure his opponents, establish range control, likes to throw boxing volume combinations. He's got a nasty low calf kick. The calf kick was really nasty back in the day. I remember that Neil Magny fight, and he would just butcher Neil Magny's leg. But yeah, he's just not the same fight anymore. Even though he tries to kind of fight like how he used to with the pressure, establishing range control, using a low kick, boxing his opponents up. Just the chin's not there, and he's just way less sharper, way less quicker. And best way I could put it is just like a watered down version of his prime self. Now Harris, he's very kind of unorthodox with his striking. It's very kind of awkward. It's got these kind of looping punches, but his punches seem to have like a little bit of sting on them. Kind of similar with Ponzinibbio. I'm not really kind of convinced with Harris's chin either. I think he can get hurt. He does have some offensive grappling. I've seen him sink in chokes and sink in submissions. So how this fight's going to go, I think Pons is just going to do what he does. He's going to put the pressure on Harris. And while I think Harris would probably be counter-striking, but he might kind of want to establish dominance. But I imagine Pons is going to try and use the range control, put the pressure on Harris. I feel like Harris is a bit more kind of crispy and dangerous with his strikes currently. I think Pons would probably have better kind of volume, better pressure. Now, prediction standpoint, betting perspective, this fight's what? Pick'em, basically. Harris 1.85, Pons 2.20, 2.02, sorry. It's kind of like pick your poison. And I kind of agree with that kind of sentiment on the fight. This is definitely one that I'm not really looking to put money on him. I'm definitely not looking to bet Pons. I just really think he's been on a decline for ages. I really think his durability is going. He just looks way less sharper, way less quicker. So I don't want to be putting big money on Pons. So that's completely out of the equation. At the same time, Harris, yeah, I'm not entirely convinced with Harris. So it's a pretty easy pass for me from a betting perspective. Before we go into the main event of the evening, first of all, I want to send a massive shout out to everyone who's been watching until this point. Thank you so much for clicking on this video, and sign up to patreon.com/MMA Lewis. If you're looking for access to my bets, see access to my trusted personal bets that I'm putting my money into, get my analysis, my breakdowns, my picks, written breakdowns before anywhere else. And whether you're trying to make your own bets or you're just looking to kind of tail or trying to add me to your tipster portfolio, I feel like I'd be a very good addition. As a Patreon supporter, the personalized betting advice tailored to your preferences, your risk tolerance, your system for consistent betting success. I'm here to help. So without further ado, let's get right into the breakdowns. Make sure to like, share, comment, sub. Keep the channel growing. Yeah, take care. So, main event time. We've got a rematch here. We got Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas. First time round, they fought, I think it was around 5 years ago, I believe. Yeah, it was like around 5 years ago. And what I remember distinctly was it was a fight that Mackenzie Dern, I think she had a pregnancy and she came back really quickly after the pregnancy. It was a couple months after. But in the first fight, kind of Ribas pretty much dominated everywhere the fight went. She was a better striker, cleanly outstriking Dern. She was doing a very, very good job of keeping the fight standing, staying out of danger on the ground. Obviously, Mackenzie Dern's a very, very high level BJJ practitioner, and you don't want to be messing around with Mackenzie Dern on the ground. And Dern knew that. Sorry, Ribas knew that. Came in with a very, very good game plan of stick and move. And don't mess around on the ground, defend all the takedowns, and she won very, very dominant 30-27. Very clear victory for her. So Ribas overall, I do think she is a well-rounded fighter. I think she has decent. I think she's a good striker, and I think she can push a pace. We've seen her go 5 rounds. She's a capable BJJ grappler and wrestler. I think she's an overall kind of solid fighter. The one weakness with Ribas is always her chin. I'm very, very kind of skeptical on her chin, and that's always something kind of keeping in my back of my mind. I'm like, you could be betting on Ribas, she'd be dominating, and you just still kind of have a worry like, what happens if so and so fighter hits her with a big shot? So yeah. One more thing that kind of worries me with Ribas in this matchup is against Rose. She looked quite weak off her back, so that does give me a little bit of concern. So Dern, on the other hand, she's a high-level BJJ practitioner. She's a BJJ specialist, like high level. Like there's levels to BJJ. I definitely think Dern is kind of the upper tier of BJJ. Fortunately, I don't know whether I think it probably comes down to bad coaching, and they've just been kind of focusing on the wrong areas with her and kind of developing Dern in like the wrong kind of attributes as a fighter, and they've kind of been trying to develop her striking instead of kind of trying to develop her offensive wrestling, offensive grappling. Because with such a high level BJJ black belt, she should just, if I was in Dern's corner, I'd be like, look, Kenzie, we need to be going in there, shoot a nice double leg, get your opponents down on the ground. But instead, it's kind of like it's just been focusing more on striking, and she doesn't really have like a really kind of efficient way of getting the fights down to the ground in a consistent manner. Let's say like a Islam Makhachev. I'm not trying to compare the two, but Islam, high level kind of wrestling entries. We don't really see that with Dern. It's kind of like she has to kind of sometimes pull guard, or she kind of has to really kind of push people up against the fence. So I feel like it's just been kind of bad coaching, bad career advice from people around her, just trying to be improving her striking. So striking, I do think it has developed over the years, and she's a big girl. She can hit hard. She really kind of puts everything into her strikes. But speciality is always going to be the BJJ. And she kind of uses her striking to kind of wing forwards, trying to set up her BJJ predominantly. So, I mean, I thought, Dern looked decent against Loopy. I kind of feel like she kind of looked better against the Loopy, looked a bit sharper. So, overall, how I think this fight goes, striking wise, I think Ribas is more clean, more technical, has kind of more process behind her striking. Overall, I think she has like stronger striking fundamentals, which was kind of showcased in the first fight. But I think Dern is more the kind of the brute, come forwards, wing shots. Ribas, she's going to have to follow the same blueprint that she followed in the first fight. Just do what she did against Dern. And the takedowns, don't mess around on the ground at all. Like clean, stick and move. Or Dern, I imagine she's going to want to really, really hulk out, really kind of come forwards, try and maybe take Ribas's head off, try and mix up some wrestling, mix up some BJJ, try to take the fight down to the ground, try and use her BJJ speciality. So, yeah, overall, I kind of have to lean towards Ribas being the favourite. She did win the first fight, and I feel like she can follow a similar kind of blueprint. But, I mean, the first fight was 5 years ago. Dern might be kind of making some adjustments. Who really knows? I doubt it, but yeah, I would definitely have to have a Ribas as a favourite, but 5-round factor kind of does make the fight more interesting because I feel like it gives Dern 5 rolls on the dice to maybe get the fight down to the ground she gets on top, gets him out. Maybe she can have a really, really dominant round. Maybe gives Dern an opportunity to just land that one hard shot that kind of tests Ribas's chin. So yeah, cool. We'll go over to the betting line. If the thing will show, I'll open up my odds. Last time I checked, Ribas was around 1.50. I think, yeah, 1.49. So I think the line's kind of fair on Ribas. In the kind of the first time they rebooked it, the line was like a pick'em. I think if you got that kind of pick'em price on Ribas, then you can sit back, chill, and be like, yeah, a really, really good deal. At around 1.50, I feel like the line's kind of fair. You know? I think the line's fairly accurate. Not really seeing like a big margin there. I feel like Dern is dangerous enough, high enough level where you just can't willingly just write it off completely and be like, oh yeah, Ribas easy light work. I mean, she couldn't make it look easy light work, but Dern's kind of got that X factor with the BJJ, the chin concerns of Ribas, where I'm not rushing out, just be like completely willing to write off Dern in what potentially could be a dangerous fight. But I feel like Ribas does probably need to be the favorite in this matchup overall.